Gap Century. Hey, this is faster than I might be making it up one of the hills. So don't laugh yet. And so we're off on what is to be one of the most beautiful 6 Gap Centuries that I've ever done. And I've done a number of them. The weather was phenomenal. The first part of the course I'll call the warm-up. That's roughly 18 miles or 29k long, heading out towards the first gap. It's a series of rollers. During this part of the course, typically, a lot of riders go out way too hard, and at this point I'm feeling like I've been passed by everybody, even though that's completely not the case. No, not yet. Not yet. Those guys always rock. In the middle of the warm-up is a nice 2K climb that's actually is harder than Woody's, followed by a nice descent that you're seeing here. This is a relatively new roundabout that they created, and actually we'll be seeing this again as we're coming down off of Woody, right there, and instead of turning in this direction, we end up turning in the other direction for getting on home. On to Neal's Gap. Neal's Gap's the first of the 6. It's about 10k long, and it consists of a ramp, and then a quick descent, and a second ramp. The gradients aren't too bad, they get up to about 7%. This is where I started passing a bunch of people who just went out way too hard at the start, and they're going to pay the price for the rest of the day. The descent off of Neal's is very pretty, sweeping, reasonably fast, and long. So it gives you a nice break on your way over to Hog Pen to go ahead and recuperate for the fun that that's going to be. If you're enjoying this video, please click the like button. This here's a fun little sting in the legs on the way over to Hog Pen that you get to ride up on the way over and down on the way back from Jack's Gap. And with this right-hand turn, we are on the scenic highway, which leads out to Hog Pen Gap. It's roughly 8k out to the hard part of Hog Pen itself. The Hog Pen itself is a little over 3k long, and that 3k averages at 11%, so it is the queen gap of all the gaps. Definitely the hardest and the most fun, though. You can see that the views are absolutely gorgeous on your way up. It's easier to see when you're actually watching this video as opposed to riding it, because you're out of breath a lot of the time. But overall, just an amazing experience getting up this hill, and is definitely an accomplishment for anybody that can achieve it without dabbing. Gap done and in the bag. Great day, as you can see, beautiful weather out here, all sun, cooler temperatures, probably excuse me, probably in the mid 70s, maybe 60s to mid 70s, but I mean, you can see the view. It's just spectacular from up here. What goes up must come down, and the down off of Hog Pen is amazing. It's beautiful, long, not too technical, other than you can get up pretty high in the speed, so you're going to scrub it off. Keep an eye out for the signs that say the expected speed around the corners. They'll range generally between 20 and 25 miles an hour. You can obviously adjust to our speeds based upon your technical capabilities. You can see this guy almost cooked it around one of the corners, but he was able to hold on just fine. And onto Unicoi Gap. Unicoi Gap is also about 10K long. Similar to Neil's, it's not technical. The only real challenge with this gap is that it is the third gap just after doing Hog Pen with a limited amount of time to recover from the downhill off of Hog Pen. It's very scenic, very pretty. The gradient for this gap starts off almost flat as you're going by the river on the left-hand side. Then it slowly but progressively gets harder as you get towards the top. So keep that in mind as you're working your way towards the top, that it will get harder. We are now officially at the top of Unicoi Gap. So all three of the long climbs are done. We're a little over halfway done with the total distance and a little over halfway done with the total elevation climbed. So, feeling okay so far. Legs are a little tired, but overall it's been an absolutely gorgeous day. Cannot complain in the slightest about the weather. It's been just beautiful. So, on to part two. The descent off of Unicoi Gap is not technical at all. It's sweeping, it's fast. There's more traffic on this road than on some of the other roads, so kind of keep that in mind as you're going down it. And it's only like 5K in distance between the top of Unicoi over down to the beginning of Jack's. Jack's Gap from this direction is no difficulty at all. It's about 8K long, averages like 1 or 2%, except at the very top, and the very tops, like maybe 6 or 7 at most for maybe a K. The descent's the much more fun side of this. It's also the more challenging. They happen to use it from this direction to go up. Once you get off the descent, which isn't all that long, you get a series of rollers again on your way back over to Wolf Pen Gap. With Hog Pen being the queen of the gaps, Wolf Pen runs a close second, if for nothing else than its placement. At this point in the race, everybody's legs are getting tired. Again, I've been passing people left and right who went out way too hard in the warm-up phase of this. This gap is 5K long, and it averages 7%, and it's pretty steady. It will peak up higher, but it's a pretty steady grind for 5K at 7%. And you can see it goes in and out of the forest. It's very, very pretty. Some of the ramps around the switchbacks can hit well over 10%, so you got to be ready for those as well. Congratulations, after coming over the top of this, you're 123K into the race, which is about 76 miles. you're rewarded by a short but tight and semi-technical descent off of Hog Gap, and then after the descent you have a series of rollers leading you over to the start of Unicoi Gap. This part of the course isn't difficult at all. A little bit of ups and downs, nothing major on your way over to Unicoi Gap. What can I say about Unicoi Gap? See that the view is pretty, as it is everywhere up here at 6 Gap. It's about 2K long, average is about 5%, so it's not that difficult, although at this point again, it's late in the game. By the time you get to the top of this thing, you're about 139K in, which is about 86 miles. In my time of doing this, I typically see either I'm excited and happy because I'm at the very end of the last gap, or I'm totally gassed and it's like, oh dear God, just let me get to the top. Alright, well, good news and better news. Good news is I misread the map, and it was a lot shorter to get up here to Unicoi Gap, and I am now at Unicoi Gap, and we can see just how beautiful it is. And the best part is we get to go downhill for all of that, and then it'll be about 20K of rollers for the rest of the way in. So feeling a little better about things. Still really tired, but I'm glad I misread the map. The descent off of Unicoi is about 9K long, sweeping, but busy, like Unicoi's busy, so you do have to watch out for cars. Here's that circle that I mentioned at the front end of the video. When you're coming off of Woody's, you've got this really tight 180-degree hairpin turn. It's followed immediately by this second 180-degree
boy, is this one ever tight.
turn. The gradient is not shown in this video. It doesn't give you any clue for how tight and steep that is. You're going really fast again at this point. Obviously, they literally have these hay bales here and this first aid station at the bottom, because a lot of times everybody's so tired at this point that they miss it, and there's a lot of medical assistance there. So please be careful when you're going through. And with this uptick, you are now on the descending rollers on your way back to Lumpkin County High School. It's about 17K to go at this point, which will seem a lot longer than it actually is, simply because of the fact that it's the cool down phase. You got enough rollers there to go ahead and bring some spice to it. But overall, you know you're going to finish it at this point, and you can just kind of, unless you're racing with another group trying to get a placement, you can just kind of soak in the scenery and the atmosphere, which this year clear, beautiful blue skies and temperatures in the high 70s, so can't beat it. That's a wrap for the 2023 6 Gap review and course analysis. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please select the like button below and keep a lookout or subscribe. That way you can see all the next videos that I put out.